Hello friends, welcome back. In this video, we are going to see how to implement OTP for multi-factor authentication. In the last video, we saw how we can send an email. If you did not watch the last video, I would kindly recommend you to watch because we will be sending our OTP via the email. So as I promised you before we began this series for building the banking service, I promised you that the content that I will be showing you is not a simple to-do list, but we will be building a real life application with production features. Something that you will be doing in a real job scenario. So without much ado, let us get started. So in this case, remember we are working on our banking application where a customer can create an account, do some transactions like withdraw, do other transactions like deposit and query account balance. So this is now becoming a very huge application. So imagine we have received a new customer requirements that we need to integrate into our account service. Assume you are developing the account deletion service and you receive the following request from your client. A, I want a capability to delete an account. This should be multi-factor authentication. Wow! Let us continue. This is the description for the multi-factor authentication, or rather what the customer wants from our application. When a person deletes an account, send an OTP to the customer email address so that the customer can authorize the deletion. Then these are some of the conditions or additional requirements. The OTP should be 6 digits. The OTP should expire after 5 minutes. This expiry should be defined dynamic in the applications.property. The OTP should only be used once. That is why it is called one-time password. Putting incorrect OTP 3 times should result in an account being blocked for 15 minutes. That means that if you enter an incorrect OTP 3 times, your account is blocked and you cannot send or verify OTP with your account for the next 15 minutes. So that means that you will have to wait for 15 minutes. You will have to wait for 15 minutes. This is to prevent some attacks like DDoS, distributed denial service. A person may fire multiple OTP requests, and in so doing, the servers will be down and the genuine users will be denied access to OTP services. So to mitigate that, that is like brute force attack. Now, I want to show you how I approach, how my thinking around implementation of this OTP service. So this is my approach and design decision. So the first question that I asked myself is, which type of database will I use to store the OTP? And I came up with the decision I will use Redis. But why not use my SQL or PostgreSQL? The first consideration is performance. Redis is an in-memory data store with extremely fast read and write operations. OTP system requires low latency and higher performance for the following reasons. 1. Speed. OTP validation must happen instantly. When I am validating OTP, it should happen very fast, and Redis provide sub-millisecond response times. 2. High throughput. Redis can handle thousands of concurrent requests efficiently, which is essential for systems with many users simultaneously requesting and verifying OTP. Remember, when you are designing any system, you are not just concerned about functionality. You should also be concerned about performance. Remember, we are not building for 2 or 3 users. We are building for thousands and millions of users. The other consideration is traditional relational databases like MySQL persist data to the disk. You know, when you persist something to the disk, this makes it slower because you are persisting it permanently. So fetching the data will be a bit slower. Okay? Okay. The other factor that I considered is time to live for expiry. Remember, for our OTP service, we are implementing a feature whereby the OTP expires after 5 minutes, meaning that if you don't use an OTP within the 5 minutes, it will be rendered invalid. Redis supports key expiration called TTL, which means time to live, which is a perfect for OTP use case where each OTP expires after a short duration, e.g. 5 minutes. The other consideration is simple design for key value pair. So in this case, my approach is to use key value pair, and Redis operate as a key value store, which perfectly matches OTP storage. So in this case, our key will be OTP with combination of my email, and our value will be the 6-digit OTP, with combinations of expiry and lock duration. So relational database require a schema with table structures, adding complexity for such a key value use case. So in this case, Redis works perfectly. Now let us go to high-level architectural design for the Spring Boot application. So when I was thinking around how I will come up with this service, I decided to break down this into key components. The first component is send OTP via email. The second component is verify OTP. The other one is Redis integration for caching. Then there is block account on failed attempt. So whenever a request is made to send the OTP, we use the Redis data store, whereby the Redis will store the OTPs. That is the email address with the combination of the word OTP as a key. Then there is expiry of 5 minutes. Then there is retry count and block. So maybe, for example, whenever I send an invalid OTP, it increments the count. Keep incrementing the count. Keep incrementing the count. If the count is if I have made 3 unsuccessful attempt, block. Then of course I have an email service. Then there is of course validate OTP via email. So for me to validate OTP, I have to provide the OTP and the email address. So the email address with combination of OTP, because it will be per user. So the OTP storage, store OTP in Redis. So this is my design consideration, that my key will be in this format, OTP colon email address, and my value will be a JSON of this format, OTP 123 attempts 0 expiry 5. So the moment I put this key, it should return this value, which contain an OTP, which is 6-digit OTP. The number of attempts This keep track of, are you attempting with incorrect OTP? And then the expiry, how long will this OTP take to expire? Account lock, use a separate Redis key. I will use a separate Redis key because when a person sees a key blocked email address, when a person sees this key, that means that that account has been blocked and it cannot be used for the next 15 minutes. The value true with an expiration of 15 minutes. OTP expiry and so on. So validation and error response, incorrect OTP with attempts remaining. That means that whenever you put an incorrect OTP, it should display an error informing you that you have 3 attempts remaining. Account blocked, error after failed attempt. If you exceed the number of allowed attempts, your account will be blocked. Then also successful OTP verification. If you verify your OTP successfully, then you will be good to go. So in this case, I have told you that we are going to use Redis, and Redis is one of the best practice to use when handling high performance data, key value store. So majority of the big companies use Redis for OTP. Now, let us go to starting working with Redis. So for us to work with Redis, we need to install Redis. We need to install Redis. In this case, I am using Windows. So for you to install Redis on Windows, go to your browser, type install Redis Windows Git. Install Redis Windows Git. So the first link that will come, there is this link in it, or rather this link, this link actually, you can see it, tp or adoski/redis. Click this link. You will find Redis for Windows. So there are several assets. There is Redis MSI. So this is an application installer. Then there is a zip file. There is source code. We are not concerned with this. In this case, I will download the Redis MSI. If you click on this Redis MSI, it will be downloaded. It is basically 6.79 MB. So go to where your download is. So mine will be downloaded inside the downloads folder. This Redis, I will right click it, I will install it, I will go to next. So in this case, since I have already installed my Redis, it will ask me to repair, but basically keep on accepting next, 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 next until you are done. When you are done with your installation, go to the folder where Redis will be installed. Basically, on Windows, Redis is installed on programs file, look for Redis. So you will see Redis CLI.exe. You can try to open it, see whether Redis is working. Try to write set key name, enter. So we have seen that our Redis is working fine, and our Redis is running on localhost 127.0.0.1 port 6379. This is the default port for Redis. This is the default port for Redis. So friends, thank you so much for following up to that point. In the next video, we are going to start the actual implementation. So stay tuned as more informing content is coming. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button, like my videos, share widely, and hit the bell notification icon so that you may be notified whenever I post a new video. Guys, it is taking a lot of effort for me to build such an informative content. Bye.